Yo, yo, yo. Testing. All right. There we go.
Yo, what's up?
Hey, Judge. Greetings. Just want to get some words from you on this Father's Day.
All right. How you doing, young Mr. Patrick?
Yes, this is Patrick, Judge. Um,
All right.
the last time we talked, and I brought up was from uh, the chatter about this the war thing, World War III, and you said it was a bunch of saber rattling. Now, with this new thing
Yep.
that has happened, do you want to like add to that or anything?
Hey, it's no big deal, son. They had a Cold War that went from 1946 to 1990. They had thermonuclear armed missiles, uh, aircraft. Everything was on the brink, and this was like 4 or 5 times a week. You know, they've been doing it for a long time. It's called selling wolf tickets.
So it's just basic but see, there was a report that just came out that England is dispatching. I know it's just a pitiful number, but like something like I think 1,000 Marines to their base in Bahrain. And my whole point is just like I had to agree with you. I think that it's just a bunch of saber rattling, but for the life of me, are they trying to use this to help Trump with this election coming up?
No, they're not trying to do anything for Trump on his behalf. It's the way things work. See, what happens is it gives the Brits a chance to mobilize some of their forces and go to Parliament with claims of we need more money because of the deficiencies that were revealed. It gives the officer corps a chance to engage in command authority, decision making on larger and larger scales. And then now that you've got 1,000, which isn't even something that rises to the dignity of a small unit operation.
So
You find that people lack the skill of, okay, I know about it theoretically, but what actually happens when I've got 8,000 people I'm in charge of, or 250, or 120 in a company, or 40 or so in a platoon? What happens?
yes,
How were my logistics? How did my command authority work? How was communications? How was intelligence? How was the control factor? What was going on? See? So you give your troops the opportunity to get experience in actually doing stuff on the ground rather than just sitting in a classroom.
yes, I see.
Which is
Practical.
important. Next thing goes on is not an unfriendly process. The other side sort of takes it as a war game, and they posture back, and you just keep going round and round, and nothing happens on it. It's good for business.
Mm. I never really even thought about it like that.
It's like prize fighters or wrestlers sit up there and they wolf on what they're gonna do to their opponent, et cetera, et cetera. And in this case, they don't even get out and fight.
but so much is like the stock market, especially when we're looking at the price of oil, how it's going up with this latest stuff over there. It does have some real world consequences.
Well, see, it's not even what's going on over there that's driving the cost of the oil up. Like, for example, the major U.S. oil concerns don't buy Saudi Arabian or Nigerian or Arab Emirates oil. They sell the stuff on consignment, and they get 10% or 15%, depending upon the country, of whatever gets sold. So if the price goes up, they get their ante up too, and if it goes down, it goes down. They don't have to pay anything different for it. They just sell it.
So it's almost benefits them.
It's a ripoff.
Yes.
Who do you think called the first meeting with the Shah of Iran to form OPEC? Henry Kissinger, U.S. Secretary of State. Once OPEC got formed and everything got set up, who chaired the meetings to advised that an oil crisis should be created. Henry Kissinger, U.S. Secretary of State. So why the hell do you think that should be done unless it was for the interest of the American oil companies?
Wow. Henry Kissinger, because I always thought OPEC was like an enemy entity, like all they kind of came together.
I had a college roommate who is, if they haven't put him on a wall and shot him in the interim, probably a very rich retiree from being, what was it, Deputy Chief Minister of Energy for his country. I ran into him some years ago. He told me about the first meetings he attended as a flunky carrying the boss's briefcase to some of these meetings that Kissinger called and what got on. Like, for example, he's talking about how wealthy he was because he was advised by Kissinger to beg, borrow, or steal all the money that they could get a hold of to invest in Japanese and German automotive manufacturing. And what do? They create oil crisis that makes the American big iron block V8 dinosaurs, and they don't perform too well with gas constraints. So now this market that you have jumped into, Japanese and German automotive industry, now everybody wants to buy one, so you make a lot of money. It causes inflation, which causes the actual dollar of your debt to drop. And it does all kinds of things about making you very rich if you had the foresight to do the investment and you control where the oil was going.
Wow. But what about collateral damage? 9 months.
I think you're talking about oil prices going up because over there they increased the prices. Well, from the point that a price is increased, that's not actually going to be felt by actual oil until a minimum of 9 months have passed, but they ante it up right after. And then what has usually happened is for some long months preceding that, there has probably been a glut of oil produced, and the U.S. oil concerns have bought up massive quantities of oil, or at least sold on consignment massive quantities of oil at a very low cut rate price, which is what's in inventory. And it's raised on that they didn't pay all this for.
Wow.
And the bad part about it is there's a premium paid when you got imported oil. So much a percentage of the gallonage imported into the U.S. has to be put into the oil reserves. And for everything put in the oil reserves, the federal government has to give these $5 per barrel, and just off of what's in Hawaii, on the island of Hawaii, reservoirs that they have there, that they haven't been touched since somewhat before World War II. There's enough there that if nobody put another drop in and the U.S. pumped no more oil, there's enough to run the U.S. economy at 150% of the current usage of oil for the next century.
What?
And that doesn't count all the rest of it. It's a ripoff. They've also acquired from the melting of some of these lakes up in northern Canada what they thought was an extinct bacterium that makes oil out of rotten
vegetation,
plant and animal matter. And they promptly filed the industrial patent for it. It's an actual living organism. How could you do that? They didn't invent it. So now they've salted it away so it can't be used. And basically what it could do is take a field of garbage a few miles wide and in less than a year turn it into oil. But we don't get that. We got to go pump it. We don't get anything dumped into developing wind resources, stuff like
solar.
Mississippi River. You've got all of this huge Mississippi River flow going down to the Atlantic Ocean. It's not stopping, and you could put all of these water turbines in there to drive all sorts of power generators for electricity. You aren't even touching this stuff. Solar electricity. No. Tidal generation of electricity.
Even the hydrogen fuel cell just did a story about
the
that.
Hydrogen fuel cell still burning something. But this, you don't have to burn anything to get the flow of the Mississippi River going down to the Atlantic, or the tides coming in and out on the Pacific or the Atlantic,
and that would actually,
the sun shining down.
But wouldn't that cause some sort of ripple in the economy if all these major industries?
No, it wouldn't. Not a bit. It would just knock some people out of the positions they're in, but they can be replaced.
Those big corporations can't be replaced.
Oh, yes, they can.
I love it. I got a question for the chat room. Ask Judge, is Bill Cosby's land full of oil? I don't know what.
I have no idea. But I tell you what, he sure had a lock-in on acquiring NBC.
And we saw how that went down.
And that's control of the media. And see, what the media has been doing is slowly propagandizing the country. It's been going on for 50-plus years. I saw it develop. They've been causing our people to glorify dysfunction. So instead of idealizing the brother that's college-educated, has got a good gig, and has got a good, strong heart and big balls, you idolize little punk asses who run around looking like they're pushing shopping carts with lawn bags in it and sleeping under a bridge, pimping and selling merchandise, the drugs, and, they ladies take care of them, and they're a bunch of little scurvy, useless little drones.
Yes.
But that's what we've got glorified these days.
Because you think it's supposed to be a way to success. You go out there looking like poo-poo, and I say poo-poo, not pookie, but poo-poo, and clowning in that. And you're supposed to be something special, but you're not.
You're not. In other words, see, what they're trying to do is emasculate the country. And right now, the guinea pig in that process is the black man. So they've been experimenting on us tearing ourselves down for the last 50 years through this glorification of dysfunction. They've been using us as the poster child for, what do they call it? Toxic masculinity, which actually is a misnomer that stands for a lack of masculinity, not any kind of toxic version. So they've been using what they have encouraged us to do as a driving engine for what they're trying to do, which is destroy masculinity. These idiots live in a little bubble of safety in a very select, special time, which was the latter part of the 20th century, early part of the 21st, and they think the rest of the world is like that, which it's not.
Right.
See, half of what they're pushing as an agenda is to keep them from having to stand up and be counted as a man if anything ever gets the fan, so they can say, oh, no, we're not supposed to be like that.
The whole nation's
oh, my
burned.
God. Why are they doing this? They need to prosecute these officers for cowardice for not defending us at the school. But, oh, my God, how can you say the best defense against the bad guy with a gun is the good guy with a gun when all of these police are supposed to be heroes and protect us who the punk ass is? Like, if you've seen that little video that's been going around, I think it's going, what do they call it, viral. It's this little punk-ass high school student sitting around with some of his buddies watching the NBA playoffs, and apparently something happened bad to his team, so he punches something through the flat screen TV, then throws the chair at it, then unplugs it, starts slamming it on the ground. Then when one of his buddies, maybe it's the guy who lives there, says, hey, man, stop that. He starts trying to ram his head into a wall, and then he goes over and picks up another chair. That little punk needed an ass whipping a time or two in life.
Yes, he did.
And all his homeboys should have punched his dumb ass out.
And threw him down on the ground like the. See, that type of lack of control.
What is wrong with you? That's offensive to manhood.
Yes.
Some little punk overly emote like he's some kind of little idiot bitch with no kind of home training.
No control. You have to have self-control, and that's what we're talking about. The lack
Who
of
threw you on a wall and bitch slap your ass? Damn.
Yes, sir. But see, that people don't want to hear that, Judge.
Day, I am much offended by looking at something like that. I wanted to puke when I saw that video.
Well, that's what happens when we get dudes walking down the
made me ill. But see, that little punk is probably going around signing autographs. Yay, man. You know, I'm upholding whatever the damn team was playing in the playoffs. See, that stuff doesn't even matter. Your knowledge of which team is in the playoff and what they're doing does not get you free. It does not get you a job. It does not protect your people from aberrant police running amok in your community. It does not protect you from the consequences of having your family destroyed in front of your face. It does not protect you from a political system that assumes you some bitch in the upper floors of a plantation house where you're trying to be somebody's bed wench or bed boy, and you're supposed to be staunchly, loyally Democratic while they don't do anything for you, but everything for the damn rainbow.
Exactly. We have a caller.
See, that ain't nothing. That isn't anything but self-hate. Back in the 1960s, black folk got wised up to this self-hate thing and started doing, I'm black and I'm proud. One of these clowns going to do, I'm man and I'm proud. Said, I'd rather be something else, you know.
I can tell you about James Brown and all that, too, if you don't mind.
Hey, caller. We got a caller, Judge. Caller, where you calling from, Brother David?
Well, I won't give that information because you only know that, Pat. I want to help out the hub.
Right on.
Ask a judge this one question. You know, I know he's retired. I'm also perhaps somewhat in that situation. But when he was in front of, you know, being the man of the law, in propria persona, sui juris, I don't have no lawyer and I'm the defendant. And then look at the bitch ass prosecutor. What happens after that? That's the only question. Bye, Naga.
Did you hear that, Judge?
I heard it. I mean, I'm not sure what the question is.
I guess when you...
Why would you represent yourself?
I don't know. He's already gone off the line.
See, one of the main things we had to go through was making sure that the defendants got adequate legal counsel. I mean, and in most cities, understand the public defender's office is going to give you better representation than 90% of the practicing attorneys.
I mean, let's be serious, Judge. Is representing yourself in court on any level a easy thing to do?
Well, let me tell you what they say. The lawyers have a saying. Lawyers say a lawyer who represents himself has either got a damn fool for a client or a damn fool for a lawyer. Lawyers have lawyers.
And that's the game. That's the play.
You don't represent yourself because there is a need for objectivity and detachment. If you are representing yourself and you had an opportunity to get counsel appointed for you, you are a fool. If you can afford a lawyer and you don't go hire a good one, you are a fool. Now, don't necessarily rely on advertising because guess what? The best lawyers for criminal matters, they don't advertise.
Oh, shit. Free. See, now I got to go get
the callers back.
Free Roy Ricky Ross. Tell the judge I'm going to eat him. I'm a Mormon. He knows
look here.
And
in my class,
career,
in my courtroom for a 10-year period. Okay, let me say this. In my courtroom for a 10-year period, there's a gentleman who's now a judge himself, and it's been 20 years since. But at the time, for that 10-year period, he had the best trial record in the whole state of Tennessee. He had 54 criminal jury trials where felonies were involved, major felonies. He got 51. He got 51 straight up not guilty verdicts. He got 2 guilty verdicts where the state was offering his client 25 years in the penitentiary, and his 2 clients got convicted of misdemeanors, 1129 time served, and 1 first-degree murder case that resulted in a mistrial that wound up a not guilty on retrial. So he had a 100% record of getting his clients off. And then I can remember people, I don't want him, man. I don't want no public defender. I'm going to hire me a lawyer. So they walk in there with one of the worst dingbat idiots that has never tried a case, hasn't argued a motion, doesn't know his backside from his front end or how to get through a door. And he just had the best damn trial lawyer in the state free of charge.
Dang.
The guy's name, by the way, he's a judge. His name is Tariq Sugarman, named after Tariq al-Jabral, that they named Gibraltar after. And his daddy was a black lawyer, too, a hell of a lawyer. He and his law partner, E.W. Willis, were the black lawyers that snuck the first pictures of Emmett Till's body out of Mississippi with the Klan and the Citizens Council after him. They shot up and burned up 8 cars, and 8 or 9 people got wounded in the process, but they got the pictures out, and the Illinois governor ordered Till's body returned to Illinois. But you see, lawyers used to be what they were.
Right.
And now they got these fools that won't even take a damn case because they're scared of the consequences. Like, how are you going to become a good lawyer if you don't take on the dragons and go slay a few?
They don't want no risk, Judge. This is a risk-free career I'm shooting for. That's what they want. No risk, no glory.
Well, you can't have that.
Why? But why?
Because if you aren't able to take on the powers that be and do a damn good job, then nobody's interested in you.
Exactly.
That's how Johnny Cochran got big. OJ, remember, he'd been doing that for years before, but that one hit the media.
Wow. Now, well, what about those riots going on down there in Memphis, Judge? I mean, there was a couple, what was that, 4 days ago?
I know what they're calling them, but I did look out and see the skyline covered with black clouds of smoke.
So sensationalism.
The yard was still there. Everybody was going to work. Nobody was peeping out from behind curtains. You know, the people that were there didn't even know what they were there for. And it was kind of stupid what they were out for. I mean, if you got to pick a cause, pick a cause. In this case, the dude that had interstate warrants for multiple homicides against him. The fool had gotten on the net and presented a video showing the weapons he was going to pull on whoever came after him, how he was going to set it up so they were going to give him a chase him, and he was going to run him off the road, and then he was going to jump out and shoot him up. So what do? They get a chase. He tries to run U.S. Marshals off the road, not the local police. And when they finally get him hold up, he jumps out of the car with the same weapons that the marshals have already seen him use in the video, acting like he's going to kill them. They didn't wait. They just gunned him down. I mean, this isn't like local yoke. This is like, if you want to get fancy about it, Marshall Dillon and Gunsmoke, but that's fictional. But there's a real Wyatt Earp. There's a real Bat Masterson. There's a real Elliot Ness. You know, you taking these dudes off, you like, you know, the marshal and the bounty. Yeah, this ain't cool.
You don't play with U.S. Marshals. You don't play with U.S. FBI, U.S. CIA. You don't play with these people. You really don't.
So you're going to jump out after you've been online talking like you're going to kill you some U.S. Marshals and showing the guns that you actually jump out the car with?
Do you think this was a suicide by marshals?
Yeah. Somebody didn't want to live.
There was no light at the end of his tunnel. He had to shut it down.
Said that. He didn't want to live.
Wow.
But, you know, he got his way. With brothers out in the street, I think, Memphis police, I've lived in many cities, Chicago, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., Nashville, places in Colorado, been down to Jackson, Mississippi, and all of this kind of stuff. Memphis cops are good cops. They had a black mayor in here, Dr. W.W. Harrington, who got elected 5 times.
Wow.
He told the director of police, who sat at his pleasure, if there is a problem and it's not taken care of by the time I get home, by the time you get home, you will find you are fired. And he did that. He went through 6 or 7 until it got so good that you'd see nice little old sisters standing out there at the stop sign in their neighborhoods with coffee and donuts for the cops. Because everybody had good relations. It went a whole 20 years when not a single cop got shot on duty.
Wow. That's the story that should be reported.
Yes. I mean, so now you got a couple of mayors in between who either was scared to do anything about enforcing the mayor's will, or the mayor's will with the last one, a white guy named Strickland, who was an incompetent moron. Next to nothing, and they got a little 32-year-old sister wants to jump in there talking about it's time for a change. What change? You don't know the damn thing. Well, it's time for somebody who can learn on the job. We don't know anybody learn on a goddamn job. Get your little young tail down and watch.
Exactly.
And the man who did this for 5 terms, he's running again to try and clean stuff up. He's 78 years old, so he's coming back out of retirement to get it together.
That's sad. There's a couple of mayors after he left, it's already back to shambles.
Yeah, in other words, there was nobody in charge and nobody knew how to be in charge. He did. He's big brother. He's like 6'6" or 7. He was undefeated Golden Gloves heavyweight boxing champion.
Oh, shoot.
Until he said he was on his way to his first prize fight and say, look, devil with that. He turned right around and he's now Dr. WWF.
Use his mind. He can use his mind and body.
And look, he ain't afraid to use the other two, because I emceed the roast when he left. It is like people say, yeah, Doc had a way of being persuasive about it. Yeah, he's not above punching somebody out in the hallways of City Hall,
I got a question from Brother Nass out of the chat room. What does Judge know about the OJ Simpson case? Did he really do it, or was it set up?
No, he didn't do it. Anybody know who Aunt Nancy Grace is?
No, God.
Super Please?
Yes.
Okay, that was her first reporting assignment. She lied through her filthy little corrupt teeth about what was going on in the crowd. She was saying it couldn't get any worse for the defense than today. So I was a bachelor, and I was taping every scrap of the 100% TV coverage of the trial in my chambers, all right? And I would look, and let's say the DNA evidence came out during the day, and the chief DNA technician said, this isn't OJ. OJ is a member of this group, but there are 96,000 other people in LA County that could have donated this sample. And interestingly enough, it came from somebody from the northeast Mediterranean area, or perhaps from Sicily, which came into very interesting focus when 2 gentlemen in the Federal Witness Protection Program gave remote testimony. And guess what? They dated 2 of Nicole's sisters, and they thought the message was for them.
Wow.
See, Nicole was known as a junkie. She owed every big-time dope man big bucks in West Hollywood and in West L.A.
Why would these fools front her some dope? That's why, just because she's famous?
No. It's like she owed everybody.
Wow.
And the witnesses who testified at trial, I mean, some of the defense witnesses said, yeah, we were with him when he stumbled in on Nicole, going down on somebody and on the couch. What his thing was, look, why don't you just ask me for the damn money and spending it on drugs and find you somebody so he ain't too broke, he got some place to take you. Don't have these kids coming down here and looking at you doing it.
What an out to lunch check.
Yeah,
out to lunch.
I mean, I talked to somebody who was chief administrative law judge there, that I recruited to law school years before. And she told me, she said, she, like other judges, sat in and listened. And the jury looked just absolutely amazed at how weak the state case was. And there was plenty of probable cause to indict somebody, but it was Detective Furman, not OJ Simpson. And I personally know the person that owned the factory that made the gloves. He took a trace in everybody's hand, and for his size L glove, size large, well, the only person whose hand tracing Matt size large was Furman. OJ took a 2XL. And as far as the size, the fancy shoes they wanted to say OJ had, well, I talked to a person the state called as a witness in knife killing. Said, well, how can you say OJ did it? There are two sets of footprints down in this dried blood. One of them's a size 9 and the other one's a 10 and a half, and OJ wears a size 12.
What does Furman wear?
9.
That guy is something else.
And this is what the jury saw, but sleazeball Nancy Grace didn't let you know. They have this security video because LAPD is known to steal from rich folks' houses. So the security team comes in first and videos the whole house before crime scene goes in. So if somebody says they stole 3 paintings, you can see 3 paintings were in there before crime scene got there. All right. So they show a scene at 1:14 from a certain angle in the bedroom, and you can see the foot of the bed. There are no bloody socks at the foot of that bed. Well, okay, about 15 minutes later, found on the video, you can hear somebody in the background and say, "Who are you, sir?" And you can hear somebody, "I'm Detective Furman." Well, Detective Furman, you'll have to leave. You'll have to be escorted out, sir, if you don't leave right now. So about 5 minutes later, Detective Furman, I thought we advised you had to leave. Sergeant, please escort the detective out. So they turned the camera around, and where is Furman standing when they're talking to him? They shoot back through another room, and you can see Furman standing at the foot of the bed. And they come and get him and escort him out. Now, half hour later, when crime scene gets there, they video the whole area. Now, same shot, same scene, same perspective. You see there now bloody socks at the foot of his bed.
There
you saw
it is.
Furman standing in front of 30 minutes before, where 45 minutes before there were no bloody socks at all.
We just witnessed a planting. The planting
Exactly.
of
And by the way, news media hasn't covered this. 4 of the chief detectives in the OJ case went to prison for planting evidence and framing 128 people they had to let out of jail in what they call the Rampart scam.
Yes. I remember hearing about that. You know, how come we don't have
Furman
more
was
of those?
a suspect as well, but he had retired and moved out of town.
I think he moved up to Big Bear, whatever. You know, this is the thing that kills me. We know we have all these case histories of police planting evidence, like you said in the Furman case, and then you also look at that precinct 75 up in New York with Michael Dow and them running it hard. And what's the one thing they have in common? It seems like they haven't focused on black folks as the victim of, I guess, police crime.
Oh, well, look, I grew up in L.A. Let me tell you one of the more egregious crimes I ever saw committed. I was a law student, and I was helping this law professor defend the case, so me and a couple other law students were going out interviewing witnesses for him. Well, anyway, we are down in the quasi-hood, and this guy we wanted to talk to was giving us a statement out on his front porch. So one of his neighbors drove up in a brand new Oldsmobile 228, I think it was. 442, that's what it was. And he had just picked it up at the dealer. So as we're standing on the porch talking, this drunk driver comes along and sideswipes 5 to 6 cars, including his, and then runs into a phone pole, staggers out of the car, and collapses across the hood of his now wrecked car drunk. So police are called. No police come. 30 minutes later, no police are there. 45 minutes later, no police come. This guy is still collapsed drunk across the hood of his car. All of these people are upset now. And finally, somebody manages to get a cop by there. Well, the cop doesn't want to handle it, so he calls the backup. And the backup calls the sergeant. So they got 3 cop cars there, 2 cops, 2 patrolmen, and 1 sergeant. So the sergeant says, we got more important things to deal with than some drunk. So, well, look, you wrecked all these cars, man. My brand new car.
Yeah.
Oh, man, it's not anything. Not my problem. Say, how you boys learn how to afford a car? And what you mean, boys? He said, well, you got a job? He said, you're damn straight I got a job. He said, well, you should have spent your money more wisely. He said, what the hell is that supposed to mean? He said, you want something to complain about? I'll give you something to complain about. And right there, this fool pulls his 4-inch Model 15 Smith 330 38 Special out of his holster, jams it up against the guy's left shoulder and shoots him. Bam!
Damn.
He said, now you got something to worry about. He reholstered his gun and said, come on, boys, let's go. They left. So we had to take this guy to the emergency room. And when we go down there as witnesses and go through the precinct book, they've got obviously 3 pictures missing because you can see the faded spaces. Where are these pictures? What pictures? The ones that went right in here. Well, we showed you all of the pictures of the officers in the precinct, so since they're not here, you obviously must be mistaken. Oh, yeah.
Crazy.
Now, see, I saw stuff like that happen.
How did that turn? You know how that turned out? Did old boy heal up or?
No, he healed up, but I mean, he was shot. He didn't get any damages.
And these cops were allowed to continue on with their little career, I'm assuming.
Exactly.
That's
They didn't have to wear name tags in those days.
this thing. What type of history we would have if we had body cameras going all the way back to the day?
Let me tell you something else I saw. That was a no good helper that was using people borrowing money and not paying it back. She was trying to get a boutique established down in the hood. And across the street from this parking lot is an elementary school. So the parking lot does sort of an L. On the long side of the L is a pretty good hamburger stand. Everybody liked the burger. And where this boutique was, where the woman was running it, was at the short leg of the L. And that L faced the elementary school. So these 3 guys are in there trying to get their money back. So they got a sawed-off 12-gauge shotgun. So I'm looking at this, right?
Right.
Along with a couple other people. Oh, shit, here comes LAPD. They drive up on motorcycles, 2 of them to get burgers. So when they see this, they call for backup. 4 squad cars get there. So they've got 1 squad car in back of the boutique, 2 parked on the side of the street, the 2 police motorcycles in the parking lot, and they walk out with a 12-gauge shotgun taped to this woman's neck, right? So LAPD just opens up on them. So they shot this dude 4 times. He says, oh, hell with it, and pulls both barrels. Boom, boom. Kills the chick, doesn't blow her head off like they'd have in the movies. Just tore a small flap of skin up on the side. Killed her. And all of these bullets being fired by the 3 of them back at the cop and the 6 cops shooting back at them. These kids are all out on the playground, and these teachers and kids are just running for any shelter they can find as bullets are zinging all over the playground.
They didn't even try to negotiate with old boy?
Nope.
This is insanity. Insanity.
It was actually 3 guys that were involved in this, and about 8, 9 cops, and they just decided they didn't bring in any negotiators or nothing.
We're just gonna have this over.
Kids out there on recess, so they just opened fire with the kids on the playground.
Was there any type of like outright outcry by the parents or anybody?
No, I mean, this was LA. LA has been corrupt for years and years.
Oh, so it's just another day at the office.
Yeah, and this was like 1970, 71.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we've gone through that stuff where we got respect in our neighborhood after 65, but then we got in those certain dashiki wearing types out there that were dealing with a paranoid maniac who was talking about black this, black and the other, and was actually an informant for the FBI and the SIS unit, the LAPD.
Oh, man.
Ron Karinga. And he and some other people and J. Edgar Hoover had managed to sabotage most of what was going on. So whereas we had in 67, all of these black organizations, by 69, nobody was feeling comfy speaking to anybody.
So that was COINTELPRO.
Now, I think it was before that. They were a little bit more ruthless than COINTELPRO.
Oh.
They were actually executing people.
Oh. Straight up killing.
Yeah.
I mean, was it sort of like the James Bond vibe? Oh, they're special agents. They got the license to kill?
No, they didn't have to get special agents. They just got some crazy buffoons who were bamboozled by Ron Karinga and a few other folks. And they were killing enough people. I got at UCLA in April 1968. Or maybe May out there. Bunchy Carter and John Huggins, Black Panthers that I recruited to UCLA. They got gunned down in the cafeteria by 4 hitmen that were in the US organization. And somebody kicked in my door in my office on the 3rd floor at the same time and put 4 bullets into the back of my chair.
Damn.
Fortunately, I was at the other end of the hallway when that happened. So, you know, it was interesting what happened afterwards, but it was rank.
But the gunmen were black guys as well, right?
Of course. And everybody knew who they were. It was not, where can we find them? Their mamas live here. This is where they can be found.
See.
So they never did arrest 2 gunmen. They arrested the 2 accessories. They got them convicted of second-degree murder. They put them in a work camp, which is not where you put convicted second-degree murderers right off the bat. They walked off the work camp. 48 hours later, the All Points Bulletin was taken down, and I ran into them a year later at an event that we were giving to raise money for Frelimo at the, what was the name of the place? Palladium on Hollywood Boulevard in L.A. So
get out.
Stevie Wonder, Pharoah Sanders, Oscar Brown Jr., Aretha Franklin, Pharoah Sanders, let's say that. Okay. You know, all these people gave a free concert. Stevie was on for 4.5 hours. They didn't break up till 7 a.m. in the morning. Of course, Ron Karinga wanted $5,000 to do a boot dance. We told him to go to hell. And I'm walking out in the audience, and there are these 2 folks that got convicted for gunning down John Huggins and Bunchy Carter.
And they're right there, just living the damn life.
And then they tried to turn themselves in 25 years later. The state of California say, oh, you've been convicted of murder? Oh, well, why are you trying to turn yourselves in? Well, we're tired of hiding. Oh, you guys are tired of hiding. Well, we don't care. Go back to business.
Really? I'm sorry. I'm so upset. Just the reality of what you just said, Judge, is just, let's just say it's frustrating to know that these guys got the blessing of the state of California to kill other men.
Yeah. Ron Karinga got put in the California penitentiary for 1 year and 1 day for torturing 4 sisters, literally torturing them. He thought they were trying to poison him. He was paranoid, schizophrenic. So when he gets out of the penitentiary, they make him a tenured professor in the state university system within 30 days.
So he gets a retirement.
Yeah.
Oh. See, it's these underhanded moves like this that just keeps us so down. So down.
He was one of the ones that Farrakhan invited up in the first Million Man March and said there are those who really do not like this individual, but in the spirit of reconciliation, we invite him to speak to the crowd.
What?
Yeah, he was being nice about it. He wasn't being friendly.
That's really, that just makes all the hair on the back of my neck raise up.
Yeah, but see, he hadn't done any better.
Who, Farrakhan?
Now, I'm not talking about Farrakhan. I'm talking about Ron Karenga. See,
Oh.
a whole lot of people wanted to kill Karenga. But Farrakhan just said, we brought all of these brothers here in the sense of brotherhood and reconciliation. Let's show some reconciliation. You know, what is going on will be forgiven. Let's move on from here. But 20 years later, 25 years later, instead of getting the second Million Man March, you got a whole bunch of sisters showed up like they're running the Million Man March repeated. What time is that? Women can't do that. This is the man's thing. What are you up to?
Exactly. What are they up? This Ron Karenga guy, is he still alive by chance?
I hope not, but he probably is.
And the organization, what was his organization's name?
Us.
This U.S. Us?
Yeah, they started Kwanzaa. There was Lamert Park. They had a park over in Lamert Park, and what happened is in 1966, they started Kwanzaa so they could get all these black people over there talking during the festival that lasted a week or two so they could inform better to the police.
Wow. So they can, this is what I'm talking about. Whenever you young guys and gals, whenever if you're filled up with hate like that, you go into these organizations, chances are they're just being run by an agent and you're just being set up as a patsy to do some sort of crime to go to jail.
Yeah, and like people say, Judge, the revolution. I said, this is not a revolution. One, y'all are talking too much. Two, you're talking about the wrong things. Three, you're back probably around 1958 in terms of consciousness. I said, three, this is some dangerous mess. They will kill you if you start getting affected.
Exactly.
Brothers have been down. I said, we ain't been down. We've been asleep. If you notice, who they been killing for the last, man, all the down brothers, name some. I said, all of them are either entertainers who help glorify dysfunction.
Right.
They're athletes of some people that got caught up in a musical thing that didn't amount to a hill of beans when it came to get black folk free.
Right.
If they killed black leadership, no. They got fake Negroes and house Negroes. They have bed wenches and they got bed boys.
Yes. Yes, they do. They got a question about Nipsey Hussle. I guess they just had his name Nipsey Hussle when he was talking
My brother was trying to do right, but there's a thing about gangs. Gangs are poisons. They always have been. And, you start running with that kind of thing, it's hard for somebody to get loose because you got to go. See, if you know what he knew, he should have moved to another town.
But I think you're right about the gang, though. Once you kill somebody, that energy is out there.
Yeah, well, see, the deal is sometimes in your local home, you got to deal with fools that have too much of their bitch mamas in them. Not good mamas in them, but bitch mama in them. And no man in them. And see, one of the problems with gangs is they don't have manhood. See, men don't tear down where they live. They make it a better place.
Yes.
They don't rape the daughters of the neighborhood. They protect them. They don't burglarize the homes in the neighborhood. They protect them. Yes. They don't rob the stores in the neighborhood. They protect them.
Yes. But we got it all backwards in this dysfunction. You
kill
and rape where you live.
I got nice to move, man. Plenty cheddar to be made, gold to be won, and ladies to be played, man.
Are you talking about your cousin or the lady right down the street?
Yeah.
And let's get this real. I'm not saying it's cool to go halfway around the world and rape and kill. No, it's not cool to do none of that. But what is cool, though, is what Judge is talking about, is when you take any community and you add to it. So when you leave, meaning when you die or get buried, then that community's actually better because you was there beautifying it while you was alive. And
that's a good way of saying it.
And that's how we should be. That's what we should be playing on. This crazy, like you said, it's crazy to, to be talking about an armed revolution and all this against the United States government. Are you out your mind? All that does is destroy the neighborhood. Look what happened to Philadelphia in 1985 when they tried to get that, I guess, the push forward movement. They went in there with the Philadelphia helicopter and dropped a bomb, literally dropped a bomb on the whole neighborhood. So whatever they were talking about wasn't beneficial to that neighborhood. And I think that's where we really need to understand that our words really do, even if you think you're a nobody, your words really do have a lot of power.
Your words can have power, but there's also willing to have big balls too.
Yes.
Sometimes, you should look to the model of the kamikaze. Everybody was making fun of the Japanese at that point, World War II, little buckies, big, thick spectacle wearing, bow leg type.
Zipper heads.
Cartoon characters. And then when they got some of those bonsai charges or some of that kamikaze stuff, those veterans were saying, these are some sass folks. These folk are not to be played with.
Right. There were consequences.
Yeah.
In
other words, we need to get something to let them save face and say, okay, we call this quit. This has got to stop.
But that's what you said. You always said, no one respects a people on your knees. If you're sitting there on your knees, man, they'll just ride those tanks smooth over you.
Well, yeah, it's like before World War II, the national sport was baseball. The national food was hot dogs. The national way of the manly art of self-defense was prize fighting type boxing. And now national food is sushi. The manly art of self-defense is karate.
Yeah, I never thought about it like that, but you're sure enough right.
Hey, take a look at John Wick and see how they fight and what the culture is in there.
Pre-World War II, after World War II. And another thing about that World War II that really messed me up is if we had the nuclear bomb, I mean, obviously we had the nuclear bombs, but how come we just didn't foresee, the Cold War, just go ahead and take over Moscow while we're at it. Just go ahead and just take over the whole damn world at that point.
Well, we couldn't. We only had two of them.
Oh.
We didn't get the third bomb until 6 months after the war was over.
See, the whole world could have been changed right then and there instead of
but see, by 1947, we only had about 22, 23 of them, and by then the Russians had set theirs off.
Oh my gosh.
See, and then in Korea, they couldn't use them because they were set off by vacuum tube radio transmissions, and there were a limited number of frequencies, and the chief man on board of B-29 was the Navy captain, same rank that he took the command of battleship or an aircraft carrier. He was supposed to set the frequency and keep it monitored so that if anybody came on that frequency, he could instantly shut down. Otherwise, the plane would blow up in the air. So
With the bomb,
Stalin got all of the frequencies and had the Korean-Chinese border lined with massive radio towers continuously broadcasting on all of the frequencies that would have set off the bomb. We couldn't drop in.
Wow. Never did know that. That's crazy. That's crazy. I wish it was still set up like that now. A question for the chat room. Would you happen to know how Dr. Abdul or Khalid Abdul Muhammad died?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I know what I read, but I don't have any firsthand or personal investigative recounts to give.
But you knew who he obviously you knew who he was. Gave the famous, I think, Georgetown speech where he got basically excommunicated from that situation. No, but when we look at these different situations as far as people wanting liberation or wanting revolution or whatever. My question is, how are they to achieve it without the help of the person that you're trying to free yourself from? Like, is there any black millionaire, billionaire that made this money without the help of white folks in some way, shape, or form?
Yeah, there are black folk that have made money. There are ways of making money, but it's all also about the aggrandizement of power. And black people don't understand power, at least not American black people. You go down to Jamaica, they understand economy. You go to the Bahamas and you get behind the scenes, they know what power and money is all about. Some of the gang organizations down there have more money than the Bahamian government does.
So what's wrong with us American black folks? Are we just too brainwashed or too slow?
What's you problem? Just have family traditions passed down that have nothing to do with business and power.
Oh.
They're taught to be good Christians, not to be effective and powerful people.
Right. But the brand of Christianity you're talking about, let's just be real, it's utter servitude.
Oh yeah.
You know, let's just be, and no disrespect at all, but that's what it is at its core. And if we want servitude, then let's just stay the course. But if we don't want servitude, let's make a change. You know, I would really love to see a change. I would love to see less brainwashing in the schools, more factual information, more critical thinking skills being basically revered instead of just the whole faith thing. When you really break it down, Judge, it's like you believe, even though you don't know, you don't have no empirical evidence, you just have to believe. And that is like basically a bridge crossing from the Christian, I guess, instruction you get when you're a child. You know, when you ask some of those questions, well, how do you know this is real? Well, you just do, or else you get smacked upside the head until you realize it's true.
See, whites, do you really think white folk were going to teach you a religion that would get you ahead, or to keep them ahead and keep you in line?
Yes. I didn't say it. The judge did. I agree. I will agree. And how come it has been, you know, like, I guess, continued or facilitated? At this point, is it just a matter of honoring grandma and grandpa and mom and dad? Or is it some sort of group Munchausen syndrome going on?
Well, we don't honor dad, granddad, great-granddad too much. I'm looking at television right now, and I find it interesting. This is the Father's Day special on the military history channel, battle history of the Navy, battle history of the Army. Let's go to American History Channel. Overcoming the Nazis, hunting Nazi treasure, the Nazi eclipse.
The Nazi.
Okay? This is Father's Day special. This is the Smithsonian Channel, Atomic Age Declassified.
Nothing honoring manness, manhood.
No, it is. In other words, you see, part of the perceived component of manliness for every other group of people on the world's surface is how badass men can be when they want to be.
Right. Warfare.
But we want us to be pimps and hustlers and, you know, rappers.
But isn't that what the losers of the war becomes? You know, they pimp their own women to the victor. They pimp themselves.
Well, yeah, they do that. But you see, that's what happens. That is what happens. But you see, there's this glorification of manly virtue.
Right.
And when you lose it, then that brings the slime balls out.
Yes.
They come out into the bright light of day. They don't hide in shadows anymore.
And why is that? No, seriously. We have,
because when you are a loser and you are part of the losers, then the victors promote you, so more of the losers will act like you.
Wow.
See those boys over there? They used to be high and mighty. Now look at them. Well, you can get a few peanuts just like them if you do and act just like them, you know?
No.
Now watch carefully so you can learn well.
Oh, and then they send that mean-minded Sambo weirdo person with their blessing into the community to not only strike fear. I mean, think about it. That explains why, Judge, why are you going there and trying to get that education? Man, you need to come over here and play basketball with us at midnight instead of sleeping. You need to come over here and play basketball with us all night instead of going to that school of yours, that fancy dancy school. We had to get away from this tearing down of one another and it's quite literally praise each other, man. I'm so happy, Judge. I hear you're gonna graduate with honors. I'm so proud of, do things like that for a damn change. I don't think so. I think the programming is complete. I think without a radical change of consciousness, a radical change of perception, and more importantly, expectation, because not everyone's going to be an entrepreneur in this life. Not everyone's going to be rich. Not everyone's going to be intelligent, etc., etc. But we can still be decent, honorable people. Everybody can be a decent person. There's no excuse for that. But I do understand in this consumerism economy or society, we always want the finer things in life. But some of those finer things in life, when you break them down, end up killing you because they're poisonous. I mean, that's just what it is. So, I know you got to go. I know we're going. Oh yeah, we're at an hour. That's why I've been trying to keep everything about at an hour. Is there any timeless wisdom that we can share, that you can share, Judge, before we leave with just the young people, just the young men out there listening to you now, with some real wisdom?
Okay. It's Father's Day. The truth of the matter is humanity would not have come very far out of the cave had it not been for the fathers. Mm. We kept the saber-toothed cats in check so we could breed and prosper and not wind up somebody's lunch. We kept the people fed. We invented technology, whether it was stone, copper, bronze, iron, or steam. We got off the planet. We kept order. We kept peace. We kept dignity. We got it moving. We got it going on. And in spite of those folks who present the fact that they can't be proper men and measure up and try to defeat us and emasculate the country so there won't be any comparisons to be made with this far ourselves. Just remember, being a man is a glorious thing. And it's not just breathing and being what you were born to be. It is being what you've earned the title to be.
Yes. That's so true. Yes.
Keep on keeping on.
Right on. Thank you, brother. Thank you, Judge.
All right. I'm out of here.
All right. Talk to you later. Bye. Wow. What a positive. I love how we've been ending the show on an up note. I love this. That was Judge Joe Brown. This has been TPIM SR Live Father's Day special. This has been June 16th, 2019, the year of our Lord. I'm concluding the show now. I'm your host, TruePowerIsMine. This has been TPIM SR Live. As always, live your life with integrity, without hate, envy, or greed. As always, brother and sister, let's try to be kinder to each other. Peace and power. I'm out of here.